Filming on a Friday evening. Cool. No rest for the wicked. State of my t-shirts, covered in fur. And by the way, if you want one of these t-shirts, you can have one by going over to controlandshift.com where you can purchase one. But rest assured, it will come fur-free. I've got two Maine Coons, so they are very long-haired cats that have just come in. Hello Ruby, hello Ray, are you gonna make an appearance on camera? Nope. Okay, never mind. I haven't turned up really early for Pit Stop Sunday. This is a separate video. Pit Stop Sunday will of course be coming to your screens tomorrow. Before I kick off today's video, I just want to say a massive thank you for those of you that have sent your best wishes to my wife Patsy. For those of you that don't know, she is currently in hospital. The good news is the baby is fine. The not so good news is Patsy has been diagnosed with gallstones. Now, I've not had gallstones myself, but from what I've heard, that is very, very painful. So yes, Patsy hasn't had much luck in her life when it comes to health. She's broken her wrists various times. She's torn a tendon in her elbow. She tore a ligament in her knee once. She's had viral meningitis, kidney stones twice, a few other illnesses that I can't think of right now, and thyroid cancer. So yeah, she hasn't had much luck. I really hope that she gets a break sometimes, because not that kind of break, obviously. You know what I mean. Anyway, thank you for your messages. Now, on to the main topic of the video. So, in case you don't know, I co-host a podcast with a good friend of the channel and fellow YouTuber PocketRockets. The podcast is called Car Chatters, and we've been doing it for around a year or so, and within that time we've had various guests on, from Car Focused, Peak Performance Reviews, Petrol Ped, but a few weeks ago we were able to get on Rory Reid. Now I still can't believe I'm saying that. Really, really, really grateful that he was able to spare an hour of his time to come on. And the reason for this video is because I wanted to shoehorn Ray, leave it alone. Ray, leave my camera bag alone, will you? Oi, you cheeky monkey. Yeah, you run away. You know you're in trouble. Yeah, the reason why I wanted to shoehorn an extract from the podcast into one of my videos, because all of the Car Chatters episodes can be found on the PocketRockets YouTube channel. So if you weren't aware that we did those, please head over to his channel and watch them. It would be great to get more support and more attention, get some more views. So thank you in advance. The reason why I've shoehorned it into my video is because one of the topics we spoke about with Rory was something I wanted to film for my own channel quite some time ago. So I actually reached out to Rory back in, I think it was 2017, and I wanted to discuss the lack of diversity in the it's been a long day. Motoring, oh my God. This is why I'm not a motoring journalist. I can't blooming pronounce it. The motoring journalism world. Hurrah, we got there eventually. But at the time, Rory was working for the BBC. Therefore, any kind of interview requests had to go through the Beeb. And as you can imagine, for a small YouTuber like me, if I sent the BBC an email, they'd probably just delete it on impact. But now Rory isn't part of the BBC, and he is more of a free man, so to speak. Therefore, we was able to get him on. So I thought now would be a great time to reignite that subject, particularly with the Black Lives Matter movement at the moment, and of course the death of George Floyd, and the hot topic that is racism at the moment. If you want to watch the full-length episode, please head over to the PocketRockets YouTube channel, where you can watch the video in its full entirety. But that's enough waffling from me. So sit back and enjoy the video.
Here he is. Hello, my man. How you doing?
I'm very good, very good. How are you guys?
Yeah, very good,
thank you. Yeah, I've gone back to work today, so that's a bit surprising on a Friday. But yeah, we have to get to some form of normality sooner rather than later. But
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. I'm sweating my nuts off. It's yeah, it's mental.
Yeah, it's stifling and it's flat. I may as well be sat in a sauna. I think I'd actually be colder if I was sat in a sauna right now. But hey, I'm wearing a white t-shirt, so hopefully that will reflect some of the heat, and I'll try and stay cool as I can.
I like the studio. What are you seeing currently?
I can turn on the air conditioning when I get too hot. I probably
yeah.
What are you in at the moment?
I'm in my X5.
Nice.
The family car.
Nice little office to be sitting in.
Yeah.
I've just got the mother-in-law's crap sitting behind me, so yeah, not too spectacular.
Yeah, I've got like a ladder just there. This is my spare bedroom / dumping ground / office / editing suite. Anyway, enough about our environments. Let's get on to some questions because that's what people are here to watch. Now, I do want to start things on a more serious note. Don't worry, guys, there will be some car content coming. But of course, the recent events surrounding George Floyd, there is a lot of talking about race issues, of course, Black Lives Matters, and Rory, I approached you a long time ago whilst you were still doing Top Gear. I've been waiting for this opportunity for so long to speak about this kind of issue.
Yes. Yeah. Banging on about this. He's been banging on about this for ages, and yeah, it's finally here.
Yeah, so I think now's a good time to speak about this kind of issue, particularly as this was one of the things I wanted to speak about quite some time ago, and that is, I remember going to an award ceremony which was for motoring writers. Not that I would class myself as a motoring writer. I think that'd be overestimating myself somewhat. But I turned up, albeit early, and I don't want to cause any offence here, but I was looking around, and I was the only person of colour there. And okay, when the evening kicked off, there were 2 other people of colour, so there were some kind of ratio, as it were. But I looked around thinking, wow, there's a lot of people. They're all mostly men in their kind of middle ages, and they're white. I thought, how is it I think this was 2017, so not that long ago. How is it in this day and age that there isn't more diversity in the kind of motoring journalism scene? And that's a question that I've been dying to ask you for literally years.
I mean, Aaron, I can't give you a definitive answer, but
Yeah.
I can tell you that I've experienced the same thing throughout my career. Even before I got into motoring journalism, I started out in gaming journalism and then technology journalism, and then moved over to automotive. Like 3 of my passions, basically. But the core of my passions was always writing, was always journalism.
Yeah.
And moving from different fields, from field to field, it gave me this insight that I think journalism as a whole is massively dominated by older white men. That's the typical stereotypical person that is involved in that industry, and it raises a couple of questions really. Why is it that that's the cardboard cutout, if you will, of the stereotypical person who works in that industry? I think one of the reasons is that people outside of that, when you see a bunch of men in a room doing a certain job and you don't look like them, you don't think that you fit into that automatically.
Like
so there'll be lots of boys there'll be lots of boys and girls out there who don't see anybody that they identify with doing a particular job, so they don't think that job is for them. So it could work in any industry. It could be a boy growing up looking at astronauts or firemen, and if there's not a kid that looks like him in that field, then they automatically think, well, maybe it's not for me. And they might look at other fields where it's dominated by people who look like them and think, right, I'm going to get into that field. And typically, you know, certainly where you find most successful black figures who are looked up to as idols, you'll find them in the entertainment sphere. So music,
rappers, R&B stars.
Exactly. So there's a sore lack of role models who are people of color in quite a lot of industries, especially in the journalism industry. The second issue, I think, probably comes down to systemic racism. And what I mean by systemic racism is when you have an industry that's dominated by a particular person, a particular
race or particular creed.
Yeah. Whenever they're hiring new people to come into that industry, I think there's an unconscious bias, but also a conscious bias to hire people who look like you.
Yeah.
So I think it's sometimes harder for people who work in that industry and have a position of power to say, I'm going to give a young black kid a chance, when that would be the only young black kid in the entire industry. And sometimes there's in the back of their mind, they might think, well, he might not fit in with us down the pub, for example, or he might not get our jokes, or he might not dress like us, or he's too much of a character that we can't identify with. so he wouldn't fit into our circle. So even if they're not deliberately saying, even if they're not deliberately being overtly racist, there's that subconscious bias.
They're doing it without even thinking about it. They're just
exactly, and that is one big aspect of systemic racism. When I say that, it means the system is set up to not give people who aren't in that particular race as an equal chance to break into that. So I think there's two sides to the coin. One is, if you don't look like the people who are already doing it, then you're less likely to do it. And if you do want to do it, then the people who are in that position of power might not let you in
job. Yeah,
because you look like them.
Yeah, it's difficult, and that's why I think you are definitely an inspiration for people of our ethnic background to do what you do. Because when the BBC dropped you, I'm not going to get into that, but when BBC made the decision not to carry you forward, I was dumbfounded. I even said to you, I think the BBC made a massive mistake. But of course, you've now moved on to other things. You went to Carfection. Now you're running the scene at Auto Trader, of course. But we will speak about Auto Trader as well, because that's obviously a large part of what you're doing now. But I just want to take my phone out and just, of course, we want to get into cars, but you spoke a few days ago on Twitter in regards to some of your experience. So I read, if a car company's employee racially discriminated against you 10 years ago, and now the company want you to test their new car, what do? Decline? Review it as normal, hoping their views don't reflect theirs. Hoping her views don't reflect theirs, sorry. Or serve revenge cold with a very keen eye on their car's many flaws. So although it's fair to say you've had a lot of success from what you do, even someone like yourself, it isn't impervious, I suppose is the way to put it, for these kind of situations. I know that happened a long time ago, but that must still kind of hurt.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was really keen to see the responses to that tweet, and
got quite a lot of response from it.
Yes, 202 comments. Well, 202 replies.
It was very eye-opening to see people's take on that. So there were a few different responses. One was, and I'm going to paraphrase these, but one was, "You've made it now. Like, be the better person, move on."
Yeah.
Another one would be, "Don't stoop to their level." And another one would, the other one, which I found really funny, was serve revenge cold. Those are the ones that made me smile the most. But just going back to the general topic, I'm not going to get into the specifics of
course, and I wouldn't expect you to, because obviously you want to keep things private and you don't want to mention any names. I'm not going to push you for any names.
I might call them out at some stage. But
hey, you heard it here first. There might be shots fired.
I might fire some shots, but no, I think so of course I'm not impervious to racism. Listen, when I was a kid, I was one of the first boys in my group, in my friendship group, at the age of 17 years old, who had a car. And I was lucky enough to have multiple cars. They weren't nice cars. They were all boxes. and the reason I had multiple cars was because I loved cars, and I loved feeling what different cars were all about, and I was just into it. And also, they all broke down at some stage. So my Monday car might be the Volkswagen Polo, my Tuesday car might be the XR2i, my Wednesday car might be the Yugo. So I had to keep moving these cars around.
Did you do a scale of what one was the shittest to the least?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Unfortunately, the one that was most reliable was also the least desirable. But it was the Yugo.
Oh no!
Oh no! But it was a horrible car, but it never broke down. But anyway,
it did it just to spite you as well. You know that.
Yeah. Definitely. I modified it quite a lot. It ended up being quite fast, that little thing. But it was terrible. But anyway, I used to get stopped by the police like on a pretty much a weekly basis.
Really?
And I remember when my friends got their licenses, who weren't people of color. They didn't have the same experience as me.
Yeah.
So there's, and a lot of people now. I'm older, and I speak to people about those particular experiences. They're shocked because I speak to people in my friendship group now who have never been stopped by police ever in their entire lives, So they're like, when they hear that I've been pulled over dozens upon dozens of times, and by the way, I've never had any points on my license, no criminal record, nothing at all. So this is not, it's not stuff that I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
You can connect the dots yourself.
Exactly.
But it's I'm definitely not impervious to racism. Certainly, just in general life, but also certainly not in my career either, because there are companies out there who either through unconscious bias or conscious bias who hold things against you. And it's, someone said something really thought-provoking to me, which was again, it was kind of, he was kind of saying, you've made it now, so what are you upset about?
I saw that comment, I read it and thought, he's missing the point completely. I saw that, I thought, I kind of shook my head when I read it, because I thought, that's not the point Rory's trying to make here. Yeah.
I think I replied to him something like, don't think about where I am now, think about where I could have been, or think about how hard it was for me to get to this point, and could it have been easier, overcome those obstacles.
And I think, and that's the problem. People like that don't actually understand how bad racism is, and like nowadays it can be hidden so well.
Yeah.
And people, can get away with it as well, so much easier than what it used to be. But it is.
A lot of people don't even know they're racist, and they don't class themselves as racist, but they have these biases against people for unconscious reasons.
Yeah,
I mean, like it could be like an old lady crossing the street when I'm walking down the same pavement as her. Like that's a bias against me because of the way I look, because of who I am.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't go home and class themselves as a racist. And there's a lot of people in society who have these, like hidden agendas and these hidden biases, and it ultimately does affect other people's lives, sometimes catastrophically, in the case of maybe a police officer kneeling on a man's neck for 8.5 minutes, or someone who is in charge of hiring at a company not giving someone an opportunity. But it's out there, and I really do hope that the recent incidents that came as a result of the tragic killing of George Floyd do inspire people. I want them to at least look at the wider society and see that things aren't right, and at least hear people's voices, because even if you don't believe that there's that much racism, surely you must be able to understand that people are out there saying that they feel a certain way for a reason. There's a reason behind it. So at least open your mind to it and consider what actions you can take to help make people people's lives easier.
It's all about education. It's all about educating yourself. Actually, people going out of their way to try and understand what it's like to be in someone in our kind of shoes. And to a certain degree, I can't speak fully on that experience because I'm mixed race. I'm not full black. My dad's side of the family are white, so I can't say I can have the full experience, but at the same time, I've seen some white journalists try and criticise the Black Lives Matter movement and saying how that it's kind of gone a bit over the top and this and that. I think, well, hang on. At the end of the day, you haven't lived in a black person's shoes. Therefore, it's very difficult for you to have an opinion, or indeed a strong opinion, on what this movement is trying to do. But of course, there will be a lot of opinions. Some of them will be credible. Some of them will be complete nonsense. Some are worth listening to. Some aren't, and it's very easy to get overwhelmed in a lot of noise at the moment.
It's tough. It's, to me, it's just sad, really. I mean, I do see people saying the Black Lives Matter movement has gone too far. People responding with White Lives Matter.
Yeah, well, look at the Burnley incident.
It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science at the end of the day. If one group of people are suffering and you show support for that group of people who are suffering, that doesn't mean the group of people who are not suffering don't deserve to be helped if they need help as well. So it's I mean, anyone who approaches me with the argument of White Lives Matter, I'm sorry, but you need to understand what the core of the problem is. It's not that your life doesn't matter. It's that there's a whole bunch of other lives that need help more than you right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it breaks down to.
Yeah, I think some people they read Black Lives Matter and think, oh, so it's just Black Lives that matter, no one else. It's like, no, you're choosing to have that opinion. No, don't be silly. You know full well that's not the intention here. But some people, they want to have their own agenda, which is sad, really. But that's the way of life.
Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone has one.
Yes, yeah. But
moving on,
yes,
we're going to come away from it now.
Yeah, this is something I could speak about for hours. But yeah, let's speak about cars. So we've got some other questions prepared for you. So there we have it, guys. I do hope you enjoyed that, or you found it interesting, or maybe even perhaps a little bit educational. If it ticked all of those boxes, then that is fantastic. If you have enjoyed that video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.